Live from the caverns deep beneath Wayne Manor and totally not from my mom's basement. Welcome everyone to today's episode of the BatChat. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Derek here of DH Cosplay. What a YouTube intro, man. I promised myself I wasn't going to do that every week, and I think every week I have done something along those lines. So what are you going to do? Hey guys, it's Derek here, not your boy, and not DH Cosplay. I'm more than that. I am just Derek. Very excited to have today's guest on BatChat. For those of you who don't know what BatChat is a weekly podcast / live stream that I do every Saturday, 2 p.m. Central Time. And if you're not able to catch us live, you can always watch it after the fact here on YouTube. You can also check it out on Apple iTunes Podcast as well as Spotify. Links to all of that will be in the description below. If you also want to throw me some bucks, you can. You can buy me a coffee and continue to enable me in my never-ending addiction to caffeine. You can donate to my Ko-Fi. I don't even know if I'm allowed to advertise that. I'm going to anyway. But yeah, if you guys want to, throw some scratch my way, I would definitely appreciate it. And welcome to BatChat. It's very, very exciting to have everyone here. People are already hopping onto the live stream, and oh god, I'm ready for the comments. So, but without further ado, I'm very excited to introduce this week's guest. This is a good friend of mine and someone who has been a part of the Batman community for a very long time, and has had his hands in several different online forums and everything as an admin and moderator, and overall great guy, great Batman cosplayer. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to my friend Tony Licata. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, brother, that's it.
What's going on? And some of you guys might know him as BatmanAll on your Instagram, and you have a Facebook page as well under BatmanAll, don't you?
Yeah, I did have a Facebook page. They unpublished it, and I've been trying to get it back for a while now, but nothing yet.
You got zucked, or whatever they call it.
Yep.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. There is a link to your Instagram, which is your main profile for all your Batman cosplay stuff. I see you got an excellent bat suit there in the background by our mutual friend, Mr. Keith Howard. Aaron Brooks said he's also a great kisser. I cannot attest to that, but I mean, I'm not going to argue. I mean, so yeah, Tony is, like I said, you've been watching BatChat for a while. When I was doing it on Instagram, I would every once in a while I'd see you pop into the chat here and there, and always have something good to say. And I'll be honest, half the reason I had you on here is I'm so jealous of your collection. I've got a pretty cool little man cave set up here, but when it comes to a Batman collection or just cosplay collection in general, I think you got pretty much everyone beat. And I see like a bunch of grapple guns in the background, and you got a couple different suits and pretty much every cowl known to man. So this is your intervention. Have you admitted your problem with Batman cosplay yet?
No, I love doing this, and it's funny that you say that you're jealous of my collection, because I'm jealous of your cave. I mean, that to me, with the right behind you, the suit and the vault like thing, man, that's it, man, right there.
Yeah, courtesy of Alter Ego Studios. I say courtesy, I had to pay for it, but but yeah, I love the vault setup. My collection, my cow collection especially, is looking pretty pitiful right about now, and I need to start building it back up, and it will be built up soon. I just had to sell off some things to fund some other projects. You know how that is. And so Absolutely. Just out of curiosity, how many cows do you have now? Because I know there for a while you had a ton.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 cows and 2 helmets.
11 cows and 2 helmets. Do you have a favorite one?
Yeah, it's the Hernandez Modern Classic. That's my favorite one.
Nice. That is one I've not. That's the one cowl I haven't tried. I have had pretty much every cowl out there, but I rarely keep them. I'll get them for a suit and then decide that I don't want it, or I see something I want more. And cows are good currency. They tend to hold their value pretty well if you take good care of them. So it's a good one, and everyone needs one if you're doing a bat suit.
Oh yeah.
So anonymous comment. Dude isn't all that cool. I saw him at a clinic and he didn't even tell me hi.
I know. Right in that.
I bet you can guess who that was. Okay, Aaron. Yeah.
I can't see comments, so yeah, you could definitely gotta let me know what these jokers of ours are saying.
Yeah, that's definitely one disadvantage to this new format is like on Instagram, if we were live together, you could see the comments as well. So I have to moderate. I do think there's some advantages to this though, especially when Aaron is in the chat because YouTube does pretty good about flagging like 90% of his comments, but every once in a while I'll try to spare my guest of it. So I think it works out, and I like the Joker mug juxtaposed to my Batman mug.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's got the back on this side, but I'm right-handed, so that's how I hold it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So 11 cows. Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
They're a little bit of from everywhere and a little bit of everything. And Paul Roberts, RT1, I have 3 of his cows, his latex cows, and each one was in either a trade or just gifted to me for helping him out with something, either helping him out with his Facebook page or trying to get him to. I remember the DOJ, I was in his ear almost every day when that movie was in the process of being made. And I was like, Paul, you got to start sculpting. You got to start sculpting this cow. And he finally did it. And so he made it. And the very first one that he pulled is the one up here on the shelf.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never messed with any latex cows, actually. There's not a lot of guys that do that anymore. I mean, I know Paul and the Bat Texan are about the only ones that, well, I think, well, no, because I thought Lonnie Hampton did latex cows, but I think they're pretty much the only guys right now that are still making latex cows. I've worn several of them because John has had a few different ones from Bat Texan over the years. I don't know if he's had any from Paul or not, but do you have a preference? Some of the people I've talked to have said that latex is a little easier to put on, a little bit better feeling than a urethane cow.
When it comes to the cows, particularly, I prefer urethane all the way, especially the ones from Gauntlet FX and Hernandez EFX now. They got the smooth skin on the inside of it. Mm-hmm. And just the overall look and appearance of the cow. Because you have to remember, when you go to these events and you do these things, the very first thing people are going to see is your face in the mask that you're wearing. So for me, I prefer the urethane just because it's cleaner. The latex cows, you can get clean but it just takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to get it to that pristineness. Is that a word? Pristineness?
It is now.
Yeah, it is now. That, just to get it to that level where the urethane cows are. But I will say this, though, when it comes to armor, and I know everybody's going to be like, oh, I can't believe you said that. I prefer the latex armor as opposed to the urethane armor. And the reason being is that, once it's cleaned up, yeah, it's not going to be at that pristine level of the urethane armor, but the latex, in my opinion, is a lot more durable. And if it gets scuffed, if it gets ripped, any kind of damage, it's easily fixable. Mm-hmm. And with the kind of work that many of us do, these suits go through, they go through hell. They get bad. They get beaten up a little bit. So I like the ability to be able to do the repairs and fix it. Where urethane, the urethane armor, that is definitely delicate. I'm just going to say it. I feel it's a little bit more delicate.
Yeah. Well, and the reality is most of these movies, of course, a lot of the movies are foam latex and not actual, like the standard kind of latex that a lot of these suits are made of. But yeah, latex does have some flex to it, has a little bit of, not necessarily stretch, but like urethane doesn't stretch. Not hardly. I mean, if you stretch it very far at all, it's going to rip. Whereas latex, has much more stretch to it. And yeah, if I ever went the Begins, which you have an excellent Begins suit, or like the Panther suit, or the Sonar suit, which John is, I don't know if he's watching today. He's been getting on me because I've said before in like the very first iteration of BatChat that I have a lot of nostalgia for the Sonar suit from Batman Forever. And I think it's the Cave Creature Workshop. This isn't a sponsored video. I'm not trying to like rep all these guys, but I guess I'll rep them anyway. But if they want to send me a free suit for advertisement, I guess I can. But I'm not getting any kind of benefits from mentioning them, just so you know, in case some algorithm bot wants to get on to me. But yeah, they're sculpting a really cool looking Sonar suit, and I'm very tempted to check it out. And I think theirs is mostly latex. I didn't think about those guys. They do latex cows as well.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, urethane armor, I mean, it does, like I've seen, like at Reeves just did a 89 suit, and I'm assuming that is urethane. and it looks great. And I totally agree with you. I think urethane is a much more has more pristineness. I'll use your word. Than latex does, and you can get it to where it is perfect, but keeping it perfect and keeping it together, yeah, I can definitely see how delicate you have to be with them. Even something like gauntlets, like I love my gauntlets from Alter Ego, but I've for a while would only use leather gauntlets just because they tend to hold up a lot better. Again, they're not going to tear as easily, because I can't tell you how many times I would spend, because gauntlets are expensive, spending anywhere from $250 to $350 on a set of gauntlets, and they rip on you at a con because you flexed your wrist too hard or something. Like it's very, or just taking them on and off with, if you did it without a zipper. Very difficult to keep those things maintained. So I was just curious, as far as the cowls go. So you're kind of the opinion that you would prefer the urethane just in terms of aesthetic, right?
Yeah. And the cowls, they don't go through that much wear and tear when you're wearing them. Like I said, the armor, you're lifting your arms up for photo ops, or even bending down to see the kids, up close, and the belt will scuff on the armor and stuff like that. For me personally, it's just my personal taste. I prefer latex armor with a urethane cowl. That's how I like my suits.
Well, and you kind of hit on a point that I think a lot of guys tend to overlook, and that's the importance of a good-looking cowl with your suit. I don't know how you feel about this, but in my opinion, a cowl will make or break a suit. And it does. Yeah, definitely. And it's not even necessarily like, I've seen guys that have like pristine, beautiful-looking suits, and then they're just not wearing the right cowl. Either it doesn't fit their face quite right, or like, especially on like DOJ cowls where it's like sitting 6 inches above your shoulders, because a lot of them are just made for people with no neck. Even something like that, it totally ruins the aesthetic of the suit. So yeah, I think with anything, if you're building a bat suit, even if it means spending a little extra money, I think it's always better to go for the better looking cowl, because that can go a long way in helping to legitimize your suit, if that makes sense. Because I mean, that is what people see. They're not going to see, oh, is that a cast muscle suit, or is that upholstery foam, or is that actual screen printed textured suit, or is that just puff paint? Like, they're not going to see stuff like that most of the time. But if you're wearing this, really high dollar, Ninko work of art, DOJ suit and a Ruby's cowl, you just ruin the whole suit.
Exactly. Oh, definitely. And see, I'm of the mindset. I think the cowl is like, it's at the top, literally it's at the top, but then you got to think about everything else. If you have a Ruby's belt and you got this amazing Ninko or Napier or any of these guys is, their suits, and you're wearing the DOJ belt from Ruby's. I mean, you can tell how tiny it is and how small it is. And for me, I know not the average person on the street's going to go, man, that belt looks like a toy. Mm-hmm. But for me, I bought it like that, and it ruins it for me personally. So, and I've told this to tons of other guys. If you're going to do it, right. Do it right. And I can't tell you how many times I've had, especially kids tell the truth 100%. If they think you're fat, they're like, you're too fat to be Batman. I'm like, screw you, kid. No, I never say that, but I've had it happen, unfortunately. But they'll come up and they'll poke at the belt. They'll come up and poke at the abs, and a lot of the parents will too. Believe it or not, I had a lot of moms come up and go, "Ooh, is that real?" And
I bet you have.
It's a little creepy.
It's the curse, I know.
So for me, I want it all to be as genuinely real as possible. And the cape, you want that good flowing cape. If you get too heavy of material, it's not going to flow. So I feel the way you were just talking about cowls, I feel that way about the whole suit. That's just the way. The only thing that I will tell people that they can scrimp on, go cheap on, is the boots. Yeah. I used Gotham 100s since day one, and I did get a pair of really nice DOJs at one point, and I ended up selling them because I was like, no one's ever going to look at my feet and go, that's not completely accurate, So yeah, the only thing I've ever just not paid full price for is the boots. Everything else, I feel like it's really important, especially if you're around kids. They'll sit there and go, you're not the real Batman, and they'll poke and touch, and it's like, okay, and that's why I love functional belts. A lot of my belts that I've used is the Begins belts, and they're urethane. They're not functional. You can tell they're rubber. So that's one of the reasons I like my DOJ suit is I have a DOJ functional belt and I can pull out baseball, the little Batman baseball cards and give it to them. And they're, oh, the belt works, it's really cool to see their faces. So.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason I wanted to have you on is it's a totally different world wearing a bat suit at like a Comic-Con versus wearing it around kids. I would say, like, if you think the comment section of Instagram is harsh when it comes to critiquing your bat suit, wear your suit around some kids, dude. Because I've been everything that you mentioned, I've had that exact thing happen to me. I was at a con literally the same weekend, and I wore my DOJ suit, the one that's on display there, and I wore it at a con and got nothing but compliments. Like, everyone just really liked it and had a lot of great things to say about it. No one cared that the belt was functional or that it had the voice changer. No one cared about any of that. They thought it was really cool. And I went to a birthday party like that next day, and they're like, why is Batman so fat? And then I would try to show them like little gadgets in the belt, and then I would use the voice modulator. Well, on the voice modulator, the speaker is like on the back pouch there. So I had a kid go up. Alter Ego's going to love this advertisement. I had a kid go up to one of the moms like, why is Batman's voice coming out of his butt? And yeah, so placement is very important on those speaker boxes, by the way. It may not be the best idea to put it on the back pouch, but and yeah, I would definitely agree with you. There is a people can have differing opinions on this, but for me, I've always been of the mentality that if you're going to be cosplaying for kids, especially like for what I do, for doing birthday parties or hospital visits, things like that, you want these kids to feel like they met Batman, not like they met a cheap Santa knockoff at the mall, or they met someone dressed up as Batman. You want them to feel like they do, and yeah, I get it. There's people who say, well, yeah, you can put together a good bat suit for a couple $100. Like, yeah, you can, and it would look good at a con, I guess. But if you cheap out on things like the belt, the cowl, the cape looks fake or whatever. Like, one of the things that drives me nuts, people would get like that AliExpress cheap rubberized cape with the strings, and they'll have like the strings hanging out. Like, I know that's a weird little nitpick, but even something like that, it ruins the what's the illusion of for the kids that they're meeting Batman. Now, look, if you're cosplaying for yourself or at a con, wear whatever you want. Who cares? As long as you're happy with it, that's ultimately all that matters, because someone will always have a more accurate suit or a better one, whatever. But if you're doing it for kids, and I definitely would love to have more guys like you on here to just kind of show, like, it is very different. Because kids just have no filter at all. And people think, oh, they're kids, they'll never notice. Trust me, they'll notice.
Every little detail. Yeah.
And it's funny you mentioned that about the boots. I'm a big fan, and I don't mind. Again, this is not a sponsored show, but my friend Robson Bento, I really like his DOJ boots. I think he makes great DOJ boots. At one point, I had some Ninko boots that were a little on the snug side for me, but they had the really nice muscle insertions on the shins. Supposedly, well, it's not supposedly. I mean, they're more screen accurate because of the DOJ suit had that. And I sold them just because I didn't really like how they fit, and they were a little short for me. Like, they didn't come up high enough on my calf, whatever. Ended up selling those and got some Robson Bento boots. And I remember I was talking to a friend of mine who said, man, that's like a big step down. He's literally the only person who noticed. And even when he saw them, like, oh, no, those are actually really good-looking boots. But no, not a single other person saw that and was like, oh, yeah, that was a step down because the shins don't have muscles. So now I would say that, I've used Gotham 100s for a long time. And if you don't have the, couple $100 to spend on nice boots, those are some really, really good boots for the money. And definitely don't go broke on the boots. But if you can't afford to get them, then I would I would definitely get them. So, Tony, I think you should know this. I'll read some of the comments we've been getting. Aaron has been randomly sending me pictures too, because he's trying to get me to not break on here, and it's not working. He's winning so far. Oh my God, I just can't look at my phone. So let's go to some questions that are genuine. I was thinking today and talking with a girlfriend about doing a Begins or Dark Knight suit at some point. Do you have any suggestions for the armor?
Well, yeah, that's a very good question. I don't know anyone who makes Begins armor anymore. Superhero Concepts down in Australia, Larry was making Begins armor, but I think the molds just got old, and so I think he quit making them. So my suggestion would be do a Dark Knight suit, because it's just easier to find the armor pretty much.
Yeah, I was trying to think if I knew anyone. I thought Tundra Designs did, but yeah, I don't know. By the way, I did get a comment that my mic was a little bit low. Hopefully, you guys are hearing it a little bit better now.
I can hear you fine. No, you're right. See, my mind automatically went into armor, and I thought latex. You're right. Tundra and Gauntlet FX, they definitely make beautiful. I mean, this to me, it's museum quality Begins armor, and something that somebody wants to do. By all means, yeah. Tundra FX and Gauntlet FX. Those are the two guys to contact about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen theirs. I didn't know if they were. Oh, another thing that happens is every few minutes the camera will shut off and come back on, so you should be able to see me now.
There we go.
So yeah, those guys definitely make beautiful armor. I'm glad to know they're still making it. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that I knew of that was doing it. I know a few people that have been working on it for feels like decades at this point, but I don't know if or when they're ever going to get around to it. So those are the two guys right now. Dark Knight armor, yeah, there's several people that do that. So I would definitely check it out. I appreciate it, but not sure if I have the frame for it. You do, Aaron. You definitely have the frame for it, buddy. Hey, and greetings from Denmark, Scandinavia, both Derek and Tony. I just love to see this BatChat. Hey, I appreciate you checking us out, man. I'm also tired of wait. I don't know if there's a trying to make sure I'm understanding your question there. Oh, gotcha. I was tired also of the belts and so forth, so I'm printing my own parts because I'm a big dude. Yeah, the belt being to scale is actually it's actually a good point, especially on DOJ suits, because if you get someone who's like really tall, even if they're getting a technically a full size adult size belt, it might look small. So that's actually a good point. How about Origins armor or cowl? I think for Origins, I think Gauntlet Effects definitely makes the best Origins cowl that I've seen. I don't know as far as the armor, but
yeah, I had a buddy. We're not really friends anymore, unfortunately. He brought over some Origins armor at one point. It was 3D printed, and it was really missed size. The sizing wasn't right, and so I think if you're going to do Origins armor, Gauntlet FX is definitely the way to go, because it's done. It's sized correctly to the human form, to an average, male form. So that's my recommendation.
Got it. Have you ever done an Origin suit? I know you have the cowl. Have you done the Origin suit?
No, I don't have the cowl. I used to have the cowl, and I loved it. But my big nose. Neck piece. I do have the neck piece. I kept the neck piece because that's another story. But yeah, I kept the neck piece so I could have some mobility. But yeah, as far as Origins armor, either print it up yourself and make sure it fits you, or go with Gauntlet FX. His stuff is already pre-made. It's not 3D printed. I believe it's either a thick resin or a very thick urethane. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I feel like it might be urethane, but who knows? I think Kevin has hopped on here from time to time, so he may be able to chime in and let us know. But I feel like it might be a thicker urethane. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, because that was a little creepy when I just corrected you on your armor there. I should say that I'm a big BatmanAll fan. So, like most time the guys I have on here, I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty familiar with them. But like you and I have known each other for a while, so I was trying to think of what suit. I think it was for your the oval emblem suit you've got behind you there. You had the Origins neck piece. That's what made me think you had that one on there. So. Yeah.
I kept the Origins neck piece because when I do a lot of, I try to tell people I'm more into cosplay than I am cosplay. I'm always out trying to do stuff I've been to maybe 3 cons in my entire life. Whereas everything else is for kids, either Children's Hospital or some kind of fundraising event. And so when you're dealing with kids and you have a one-piece cowl and you're trying to look down, it's so difficult. And then some kid comes up and is talking to you over here, and you're like, you do the Michael Keaton move, and then you got to look down again. And so it got a little old. And so I love the Origins neck, and I usually use my the Bale, the Dark Knight cowl from Gauntlet FX. That's been my go-to for a long time. And that way I have that mobility. I'm able to turn and look at the kids, look down to the kids, and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's definitely a function over form type thing. I say it is. I mean, I guess it's just personal preference if you prefer the two-piece over one-piece. But that is something to think about is, being able to see kids. See, I've got an advantage because I'm short. So most of the kids are like, I want to say waist high, but most of them are like chest high to me. So like Bat might at some of these parties. So I'm able to see them pretty easily. But yeah, that's definitely a big thing because you have to think about, okay, I need to be able to look down and see a miniature human. So it might be something worth getting a two-piece cowl. Any plans on cosplaying a Marvel character?
Never.
Never?
Iron Man sucks. Come on.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. I love Marvel. But no, I don't have any plans to cosplay anybody from there. I did it was in Virginia. It was I don't remember. It was a kid that won battle against cancer, and they had this big party in the subdivision for him. It was Christmas time, and Batman's there, and Iron Man's there, and it took Iron Man about 40 minutes to suit up.
Oh man, yeah.
And he had an awesome suit, man. He had everything to where he had to connect all the wires from the legs all the way up to the battery pack in the back. And when he walked, it had sensors on the bottom of the feet. So when he picked his foot up, you heard, and it was so cool. But it's so long to suit up. And I'm sitting there going, man, I thought I had it rough trying to get in a suit, So, man, if I did Marvel, I would want to do Iron Man. But it's just a lot of work for that suit. And I was like, nope. I'm good. So
it definitely is. Yeah, we did the last superhero dash and bash that Arkansas Children's Hospital does. The last one we did, we had an Iron Man cosplayer out here. I think he's actually Arkansas Iron Man. Need to have him on here at some point if he's still doing it. But for him it was like 30-40 minute process getting all suited up, and his wasn't near that advanced. That's really cool. I need to check that guy out. Might need you to send me his information because that sounds really cool. Iron Man cosplayers are on a whole nother league. Like that's such an intricate armor to put together and to make it believable for kids too. Because going out in like foam armor, even though it looks good and everything, Iron Man's, it's not foam man. So you're going around kids and they're sitting there poking your supposedly iron armor, and it's all squishy and stuff. They may not fall for.
Yep, exactly. They're definitely going to notice that one real quick.
Well, Aaron said that's a real shame because you'd make a pretty hot Scarlet Witch.
Oh my Lord, Aaron! Tell him if he doesn't behave, I'm not going to call and read 50 Shades of Grey to him anymore.
Probably a good idea. Yeah. He did want me to have you send him some ASMR of you reading different things to him, just reading like a Starbucks menu or something. He loves your voice. He wanted me to ask about your voice. I am definitely jealous of your Batman voice. I should say for anyone. I mean, you guys listen to this. I sound like a child, and I try to have a Batman voice when I'm around kids, and it doesn't work. I don't have the very nice silky smooth Batman voice that Mr. Licata here has.
You're making me so self-conscious. Stop it.
Okay. Oh man. Well, so do you have any suits that you're working on? Because you pretty much exclusively do Batman cosplays. Do you have any bat suits you're working on that you want to get out of your system?
No, not well. I'm reworking the Batman Begins suit. It tore. You lift your arms up to do the bat wings, and it ended up tearing in the armpits. And so I sent it to Paul Roberts, RT1, and he repaired it for me. He redid the whole thing in the back, and he really fixed it up for me. He sent it back, and at that point, I didn't have an undersuit because you need a pretty nice like a shark skin neoprene bodysuit to glue it to a two-piece suit. And I never got the suit. So unfortunately, my Begin suit is just sitting here staring at me saying, "What are you waiting for?" And so I keep spending my money on everything else that I should be, I should be trying to find somebody to make the suit for me, but yeah.
Hey, I understand. I understand completely. Do you have a favorite suit? You mentioned your favorite cowl earlier. Do you have a favorite one?
That's a very good question. I think my current suit from Keith Howard is my favorite suit. Um, Man, that's like asking which is your favorite child. It's hard
That was
because
never a hard question for my parents. I don't know what it is.
they, they both have such personalities. I'll tell you, I had a Keith Howard put together a suit for me, and it had the Napier skin on it. It was a Napier suit with Keith Howard muscles, and it was the traditional color, right? The traditional DOJ color. And I noticed when I put that suit on with that color, and go out in bright sunlight, people are like, "Oh, look, it's Batman." Like, okay, cool. Nobody gave it a really second. They were like, "Wow, look, it's Batman." But the Begin suit, every time, and I'm not kidding. This may sound like an exaggeration, but I'm not exaggerating this. Every time I put that Begin suit on with that primal looking cowl and that cape from, I get my capes from Gauntlet FX. It's a beautiful flocked cape. I'd put that suit on and walk into an event, and people would back away. And to see the suit get that kind of reaction, almost every time I went somewhere. I remember I was at a YMCA and I was walking down the hallway, and they had a custodial lady working, and she comes out of the bathroom and sees me, and she runs back in the bathroom scared. And I was like, "Oh my God, I feel terrible." But at the same time, the inner Batman's going, "Yes."
Nice.
So what I'm getting at is that definitely the two suits have a different feel. It definitely, people see them and have a different. It gives a different emotion away, I think. The suit I got from Keith Howard, it's a DOJ suit type material, but it's definitely darker than the traditional DOJ suit. Mm-hmm. And so when you're out in bright sunlight, it looks like a dark gray, and when you're out in either dark or at night, it looks almost black. And I love it. I love that it can go dark like that, and people will still, "Oh, okay, we're gonna move out his way." And it's a great feeling, because they don't do that for Tony. They do that for Batman. They don't do that for Tony at all, ever. People see me coming, they're like, "Oh, look at that fat guy there." Okay, no, so
hope I don't run into him at a clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the same
suit.
Get
me in trouble, you know that, right?
I know. I've got that same suit, actually, same fabric, and initially I was kind of I was a little worried about that one when Keith was putting that together, because I was like, man, it's not the right color, but it's like it might be okay. It might be okay, because I've always kind of looked at it, because I had his Justice League suit and I had the lighter version of it, which I kind of liked. He was still working on the darker version, and I was like, man, I think honestly it'd be better to kind of flip these, but because Justice League's usually the darker suit, and I got this one in, and I don't know, something about it just has a more commanding presence, and even though it's not accurate DOJ, it feels more DOJ, if that makes sense, just because it is much more intimidating. And yeah, same thing, because that con I mentioned, where I went to the birthday party the next day, I was wearing the JL suit on Saturday, and then Sunday I wore the DOJ suit, and definitely DOJ got a much more of a response. A little tongue tied there, which is funny because it's not as accurate. But I always liked that it kind of had that, because everyone. And we'll definitely talk about like Pattinson and some of the movie suits and everything, because I'm definitely curious to get your opinions on those. But I'm so annoyed by black bat suits. I really am, because like Batman's he's gray in the comics. I don't know why for 40 years they couldn't get the color right on his bat suit, and then finally they did with DOJ, and it feels like they're constantly trying to go back to it being black. And everyone that I've ever said that to makes the same argument. Well, it doesn't make sense for Batman to wear a gray suit. He just needs to wear a black one because it blends in more. Now, okay, I get what you're saying. I remind you, this is a comic book character. He just needs to look like he does in the comics. We don't have to be like Christopher Nolan and have a real world explanation for every single detail. But that being said, I do like that on this DOJ suit, it does kind of blend it. It's still gray, and in sunlight, like you said, you got good lighting, it still looks like a DOJ suit, that nice gray, but you turn the lights off and you do kind of disappear. It does look almost black. So I really do like that.
I love that feature a lot. And when I went to put my DOJ emblem on the chest, it just blended in so much. It just was gone. you know. And I was like, okay, well, maybe let me rethink this. And with the work that I do with a lot of kids, I was like, you know, let me go back to the traditional emblem, you know, the oval emblem, and just see if it looks too cartoony. Then, and this is always my mindset. If I screw it up, it's not really screwed up, but I was like, if it's too cartoony, I'll sell the suit and do it again, you know.
Yeah.
And I got this emblem and put it on there, and I was like, that works. That actually really works, and I was very happy with it. And so, yeah, I'm sticking with this suit for a little while.
Yeah.
I'll get my Batman Begins suit up and running eventually. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely works. Oval emblems those suits are surprisingly hard to pull off. Because especially if you're a bigger guy or you got a wide chest, a wide frame, it tends to look kind of small, like a Returns or an 89 emblem. Just doesn't quite look right. Like, you need one that's slightly wider, in my opinion, that's kind of proportionate to your chest size. I love the scale of yours, also the position. Like, when I saw you put the oval emblem on there, I was like, okay, if you were just to tell me, Tony just put a oval emblem, a classic oval emblem, not even like a Batfleck style, like a classic oval emblem on a DOJ suit, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of an interesting idea. But in practice, it looks fantastic. I definitely, that's my favorite one that you've done. It's so cool. Batman. And you can also, like, in your head canon, like, this is like pre-DOJ Batfleck, like maybe while Robin's still alive or something. Yeah, that'd be cool. Fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Trying to see if there's any other alter egos in the chat now. I got to be careful what I say about them now.
Now. Those guys have been great, man. I love talking with Tom, and yeah, they're good. They're good people.
They're okay. I don't want to puff them up too much. They're okay. No, I love the guys at Alter Ego. Great guys. Well, let's kind of shift conversation a little bit towards, still talking about bat suits, but talking about some of the movie suits. So do you have a favorite movie bat suit?
Oh, yeah, Begins, definitely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, it will always be DOJ. That's definitely my favorite, but Begins is a very, very, very close second.
Yeah, I think I like Begins. Oh, there's two reasons I like Begins. It's that cowl, man. That prime, man. It's just something about that cowl that I can't put it into words other than it's primal. When you see Christian Bale wearing it, when you see other people wearing it, and they're at the right angle, you're like, oh man, that, you know. And it to me,
yeah.
Oh yeah, it speaks volumes to me. And the way that Christopher Nolan went into the, like you mentioned earlier, the details of how he got the suit and everything. I absolutely love that movie. See, I'm a 80s baby. Well, I'm a 70s baby, but I'm old. I'll put it that way. My first Batman movie was Keaton, right? And I think I was, God, how old was I in 89? Doesn't matter. But I was a kid. And seeing Michael Keaton on screen, you know, it was like mind blowing. Oh, it's Batman. But I was in college when Begins came out. And for some reason, I guess being much older, much more, I want to say mature, but I wasn't. But seeing Christian Bale in that suit was just like, oh my God, that sold me. I love the other suits. I really do. But for me, that's my favorite. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't have anything against, I maybe need to backtrack my previous statement. I don't have anything against them explaining the bat suit. But, like, there's definitely a way you can explain him wearing a comic bat suit. Maybe not make it bright baby blue with a big yellow emblem. Maybe not do that one. But, like, they could have definitely done a scene similar to that in DOJ where they explained why he's got this gray textured suit or whatever. But yeah, I love the Begin suit, and to me, because I'm a little younger than you, so like for me, Christian Bale, like I had Returns. Let's be honest, Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, like all those had come out already, so I wasn't the target audience when I was a kid at that point. But I grew up with those movies. Because there's quite a gap between Batman and Robin and Batman Begins. So I grew up with those, but to me, it never really felt like Batman. It always felt like, like I've gone on record that I'm not the biggest Keaton fan. Sorry to all the Keaton fans on here. Like I was just never really that enamored with it. But again, like I wasn't like you where I grew up and I went from Adam West to Michael Keaton, and like, yeah, that's a huge thing. Like you've never seen anything like that before. By the time I was a kid, I'd already seen 4 Batman, so it wasn't that mind blowing for me. But like
Well,
even with the works of art that you can make fun of the nipples all you want, but like the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin suits are gorgeous suits. They're not great bat suits, like they're not very intimidating, but like in terms of the detail and everything, absolutely gorgeous suits. But they always kind of felt like walking action figures because that's basically what they were. And then when I remember when Batman Begins first came out and seeing that suit, yeah, it looked like Batman for the first time for me.
yeah.
And yeah, at the time I couldn't really put my finger on why, but yeah, that huge neck, it was intimidating. It was really, really cool. I love that one. I definitely feel like the Dark Knight suit was a huge step down.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't like the really tactical. It was just too busy, and like even with like the Justice League tactical suit, like it looks cool. I get why it's there in the movie. It's just too busy. It's not really my thing. And something that a buddy of mine pointed out that I never noticed was that was their kind of half-ass attempt at putting Bale in a gray suit. Because if you look at it, it's got a lot of gray kind of carbon fiber panels on it. So it's a lighter. It doesn't make sense to say a lighter shade of black, but it leans more gray than the Begin suit did. And I was like,
Right.
well, still, I don't. It's just to me a huge step down. It looks like a tactical military suit, which I get. That's what they're kind of going for, but to me, the Begin suit definitely the best one.
Yeah, they could have done so much better, and I think it's just a matter of the costume designers trying to keep their jobs. Like I'll give you an example. We're talking about. I didn't really grow up with Adam West, even as a child. This is gonna be me being honest, 100%. I would watch. I remember being at my grandmother's house watching that show, and be like, "This is goofy." I just didn't care for the Adam West show as a child. I didn't care for it. I was like, okay, this is wow. Look at this. Okay, whatever. So when '89 hit, I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. And I'll never forget when he pokes him in the abs with the gun, and he's when he's laying down on the ground. And I just thought that suit was awesome. And then when Returns came out, and the Returns' chest and abs are different, even as a kid, '92, what was I? I was in 8th grade, I think. 8th grader sitting there going, why is the suit different?
Yeah.
What happened? Why does it look less? Why does it look more armor? And and this is way before I got into costuming. As an 8th grader, I noticed that, and I was like, okay. So, and then you get to Batman Begins, you go to Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, which I could spend an hour complaining why I hate the Dark Knight Rises. But anyway,
me too.
But that me was just like you said. It wasn't even a step back. It was just somebody saying, "Well, look how important my job is, and look how fancy I can make this suit." And it's like, no, you went the complete opposite. And I can't believe like Christopher Nolan, who spent so much time on Batman Begins, making it authentic, making it what it was, and just said, "Yeah, that looks great."
Right.
And really, it's a motorcycle suit. I mean,
Exactly.
Anybody who had any experience in motocross or any of those things would look at it and be like, really?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously? That's what we're doing? I mean, yeah.
Well, that's why
That's
like
all.
UD Replicas just jumped on that because they're like, hey, we already make motorcycle suits. It's already halfway there.
Yep.
But yeah, I would definitely agree. And it's one of those things where like, and people hate me when I say stuff like this. I think Christopher Nolan's a great director and David S. Goyer is a great writer. But everyone, everyone's going to have their slip ups here and there. And I definitely think the Dark Knight suit is evidence of, keep in mind, it doesn't matter how serious you want to make these movies. Like even with the Batman, with Pattinson, they're still, you've seen these toy commercials. They're selling toys at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they can tell great stories and everything, but Warner Brothers is trying to get it, and DC is trying to get as much money as possible. They got to get toy sales. It's very hard. It was nothing short of miraculous that the Dark Knight suit and the Dark Knight Rises suit were essentially the same. There are some differences, but like the fact they were able to keep those the same is miraculous. But for me, it's just kind of lazy writing. The Dark Knight suit because like for one thing, Christian Bale did want to be able to turn his head just like every other Batman has. I feel like you could have upgraded the cowl or whatever, but literally the only reason, and I will gladly say this and hand to God say this, the only reason they redesigned the entire suit was so they could establish two things. One, the gauntlets that the fins fly off so he can get Joker at the end. and also so he has gaps in the armor so he could be stabbed.
Yep.
Which happens later on in the movie. They specifically had to point that out, so it happens later in the movie. It's just kind of a plot contrivance that really didn't need to be there. But it was just, again, kind of lazy writing. And also it's kind of funny that the original suit was years and years of military research and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the next one was like, hey, I'd like to be able to back out of the driveway easier. And like, yeah, come back 2 weeks. I'll have a better suit for you. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of lazy.
Like I said, both those movies, I could sit here for an hour and just tear them apart. So I try not to think. The Dark Knight was pretty good. It was okay. Dark Knight Rises, I try to imagine it never exists. And
That's interesting. I completely agree with you. I think what's funny about those movies is I've always maintained they're not Batman movies. They're not comic book movies. It's a Christopher Nolan movie that Batman is just a character in. I'm not saying
Absolutely.
it's a bad thing, but he wasn't. And he'll even say, I'm not a comic book guy. I'm not setting out to make a Batman movie. He's got a story that he's wanting to tell. And Batman just happened, of all the superheroes, just happened to fit his narrative the best. Kind of same thing, same way I feel about Tim Burton and Michael Keaton. Horrible Batman movies. I get if you have nostalgia for them, but in terms of like faithfulness to the source material, stuff like that, like nostalgia aside, they're not good Batman movies, but they are good Tim Burton movies. You know, if you know anything about Tim Burton, like with his weird directing style, he definitely, it's one of those things where you have a director who forms the character around his narrative rather than the other way around, which is how most other movies are made, where it's the director's style oversees the actual character that he's directing.
Yeah. And we got to give Tim Burton credit where credit's due. I mean, no one did it before him, you know?
Right.
So he was coming on completely new. But today, in my opinion, there's no excuse. When you see what Marvel has done, they've taken the source material and stayed true to the source material. Yeah, some things they've
updated.
Updated and worked around and whatnot. But they stay true to the source material. Where you got Warner Brothers who are like, let's just do something, you know. And directors like what's his name? Zack Schneider. I don't get me wrong. I loved Dawn of Justice and his Justice League, not the 2-hour one that came out. Mm-hmm. But when there's an interview with him who said he straight up says, I'm not into comic books. There's not enough, you know, they're not real. There's no death or sex in them. And so I think what he did was he got a hold of what is it, Dark Knight Returns?
Yeah.
And just went, I'm gonna do this, you know, and so yeah, if Warner Brothers could get their heads out of there anyway,
yeah.
The source material, we wouldn't be complaining. We'd be sitting here going, hell yeah, you know, like the Marvel fans do. I don't think I've met a Marvel fan who sat around like we're doing and going, man, their interpretation of Iron Man's just terrible, you know, this, that, you know, or this movie didn't. It's like they casted everybody correctly. They got the source material down and they stuck to it. And if Warner Brothers could do just a fraction of it, then I think we all as the community, as a Batman community, would just be like going crazy. But you talked about the new movie coming up, man. The new movie, I don't want to get my hopes up. You know, I look at this, of course, because we're cosplayers, right? I look at the costume and I'm scratching my head going, really?
Yeah.
Really? That's what you're doing? But I mean, if you look at what is it on CW, the Batman on CW too. I mean, it's like, who are they hiring to do these costumes?
I can't tell you how many cosplayers I've seen that probably didn't have a fraction of the budget as these movies and TV shows have, that have put, like, any of my bat suits. My worst bat suit is better than the Gotham suit. My worst bat suit's better than any of the CW, you know, suits. So I will
costume because that's like pizza.
Yeah. That was from Gotham, where the pizza abs, and then the Titans bat suit. Just, oh man. I will say this about Marvel. The thing that they got right was they hired nerds. They hired guys like Kevin Feige, like Jon Favreau, who, I hope I'm saying his name right. And these guys are nerds. They love these heroes and love these comics and love the source material. I do have some hope for the Batman because Matt Reeves is also a big nerd, and we have not had a Batman director that loves Batman. We've had directors that, like, I've got a story to tell and I can kind of morph Batman into it. Matt Reeves is a Batman fan. Now, granted, he could still screw it up, but we'll see. But I'll say this about the Marvel movies is, like we said earlier, they updated these characters, because you mentioned Iron Man specifically. Iron Man pre-MCU in the comics was a little bit different, but he was also a C-list character. People don't remember that. Iron Man was a nobody until it was RDJ that brought him to life. Yeah, there were some, he had some good stories and everything, but in the comics, no one really cared that much about Iron Man. Now he's a household name because, like I said, they casted it perfectly. Like RDJ, yeah, he had the look and everything, and his personality was a little bit different from Tony in the comics, but they had a vision, and they're like, this is what I want to see, and we're going to stick to it. And that's where I think Warner Brothers, that's really, I think, their greatest sin, is they don't stick to anything. Like, as much as I do like Zack Snyder's direction in Dawn of Justice, I get that, I think I said this last week, he was not a good choice for starting a cinematic universe. As much as I love those movies, like, they were trying to do an MCU thing. They should not have hired Zack Snyder. He had a very specific vision, like Dark Knight Returns, like you said. Like, he had his story that he was wanting to tell. I do think he's got some love for the characters, but he's not a MCU, superstar like the other guys. I'm just going to keep talking through the camera shutting off. But he's not, he's not a business guy in that regard. So you shouldn't have hired him in the first place. But
Zack Snyder, to me, though, he's a great storyteller, but he's a horrible.
Yeah, well, I would definitely agree. When you're talking about long term, like, he had his vision, and his vision did not line up with Warner Brothers, which is why they swung from one ditch to the other when Justice League came out, or Justice League came out, as it's been called lately. Which is why they hired Joss Whedon, because he directed Avengers. Like, there's no denying that they wanted some of that MCU money, so they hired the MCU guy who did the original superhero team-up movie to do this one, because they were wanting that. You should just kind of started that from the first place, and then when that wasn't successful, well, we'll go back dark again, but we'll do it a little different. They've never had the balls to just say, this is what we're doing. You can watch it or you cannot. Like, they're constantly, oh, you don't like this, so this focus group didn't like this, so let's go completely different. Now, it's just crazy. I don't understand why they don't just find someone like, I will say, like, find someone like Matt Reeves who loves Batman. And I will say, and Aaron, I see your comment, it's his first bat suit. Keep that in mind, baby. I get that. I do. But look at every iteration of Batman throughout the comics, and his first suit, like, I would have rather seen Pattinson in a cloth bat suit. Like, no muscle suit, like, put him in a Zentai suit or something. But even with it being his first suit, like, I get that, and I've defended his suit to an extent, but I can still say, still looks a little weird, even with all that stuff in play. But, like, with Matt Reeves, dude loves Batman, and I think he does have a vision in mind. If Warner Brothers will just keep out of it and let him tell his story, I think it could be something really special.
I hope so.
And I hope so too. But I'm with you, man. It's Warner Brothers has a track record for being very, very gun shy. They'll put it out like, oh yeah, this is our vision, we're proud of it, unless you don't like it, in which case the next one's gonna be completely different.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, they've always done that. But what I would love to see to restore the Snyderverse, and here's why. I said he's a great storyteller, but a horrible movie maker. And I want to expand on that a little bit.
Yeah.
If you watch Dawn of Justice by itself, I don't know about you, but I walked out of the theater scratching my head like, wait a minute, I need to watch that again. So I didn't catch it all. Watched it again. I was like, okay, how did they blame Superman for this? Then you watch the director's extended version, which is 3 hours, I think, or 2.5.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And they put in the parts where the lady who was testifying, it makes more sense, And then you watch the Snyder cut of the Justice League, which is four something hours, and it's beautifully done. And what I wish we could see, what I wish would happen, is Zack Schneider comes out, tells the story, but do it in smaller movies.
Yeah.
And that way you have this gigantic universe. I think his vision, his brain is so brilliant and so just filled with that information. And he's trying to squeeze it all into a 2-hour movie, and you can't do that, and that's what drives me nuts. So I'm hoping the Matt Reeves movie will will be good. You know, looking at the suit, we're going back to suits like you were talking about the ones we wear.
Yeah.
And I always ask myself, does it look like it came from Wayne Tech? You know, does it look like it came from an R&D facility at one of the most prestigious, one of the most richest, powerful organizations in the world? Does it look like it could do that? And so that's where, like, I look at my own suits, and if I say no, I'm not wearing that crap, you know? So I look at these movie suits and I'm going, really? That's from Wayne Tech. That's what you picked up from R&D, you know?
I'll play devil's advocate because I know
Okay.
I'm going to get a comment on this, and I agree with you. I think his second suit, because there is supposedly a second suit, a final suit at the end of the movie, should absolutely look like it came from Wayne Tech. There is no excuse for the Gotham suit or the CW suit that we see in Batwoman. There's just no excuse for Batwoman anyway. And then Titans, there's no excuse for that because that's an established Batman.
Yeah.
They have an excuse for this first movie because canonically, and I'm sure they'll explain it, this suit did not come from Wayne Tech. He made this with Alfred, or at least by himself. He sourced it. Of course, I say that. I did read, I think Fanatic Effects shared an article that the material that it was made from is from Wayne Tech. I'm going to hope and pray that this... Huh?
Special cows.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the recast. Anyway, so, like... Oh, did I say that? I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, the... that's gonna give me some hot water. I don't care if there's someone I don't really care about pissing off. So anyway, with that suit, I'm gonna hope and pray that this suit is one that he put together. Like, and that's why I said from the beginning, I don't like the suit. The reason I don't like it, it looks like a 25-year-old kid made it with pieces that he had laying around or that he was able to find. If that's what they're doing, I think it's fine. However, I really want Lucius Fox. I don't care if it doesn't make sense. I would love it to be Morgan Freeman. I want Lucius Fox to come in like, okay, kid, let's get you in something respectable, and you put him in a great-looking bat suit. I don't want you to do a DOJ-style suit. I would love to see him like a Telltale-style suit. Have you ever played those games or seen that suit?
Yeah.
I would love to see him in something like that, and there's tons of fan art for that. It would be really cool. But yeah, I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate there because it definitely does not look like it comes from Wayne Tech, which I don't think that's the point of it. But I hope the next movie, or at least the second suit we see in this movie, is a marked improvement from that because, yeah, it's not. It's a major step down. I think it's supposed to be a step down though, but we'll see. I would say it's there's no place to go but up, but I do think there are worse bat suits that we've seen. It's better than Gotham. What's that?
It could have nipples.
It could have nipples. With those points on the armor, I mean, it does kind of look like no. It could have nipples. Even those suits, like, even if you think the nipples are stupid, they still looked great. I mean, they looked like sculptures.
I love the Kilmer suit. I'll just say it. I'll be that weirdo. The Kilmer suit, minus the nipples. Larry I'm not getting paid to plug anybody, but Superhero Concepts, they make a Panther suit that's nippleless, and it's beautiful. And if I ever do another latex my begins, I would probably do like the Panther armor with maybe a Keaton cowl or something. I'd go a little hybrid there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely, minus the nipples, which, I mean, of course they're going to have nipples. Joel Schumacher's directing it. Did I say that? Yeah. So, of course, they're going to have nipples on it, except for the Batgirl suit, because, again, Joel Schumacher's directing this.
Oh, no, it has an outline. If you ever looked at that armor, there's definitely an outline of it.
Yeah, because it's covered. Because it is like there's little protrusion there, but it's covered by like a latex, or not a latex, but like a leather corset type thing. But
definitely there. I remember my wife when she and I met and we got married, and she's like, "Okay, well, you want me to do something?" She's never dressed up. She dressed up one year as Poison Ivy, and it was great. We had fun, but we were talking about doing Batgirl. She's like, "I'll do Alicia Silverstone." I'm like, No, you won't. I won't let you go around kids in that costume. No. Yeah. And she's like, "Why not?" I'm like, "Go look at no, absolutely no way."
Yeah.
got that one mask here. It's me, Barbara. Like, we couldn't tell from your cheekbones, lady. Come on.
Right, and this big ass mole you've got on the side of your face, which I'm not making fun of her. I'm not body shaming or anything, but like that's a very distinguishing factor, not a distinctive feature that can absolutely be pointed out in a police lineup. And yeah, of every stupid thing in that movie, that line, because I remember when we were watching this, my wife and I were watching it, and I've seen it a million times. She's never seen it. She made it through most of that movie and only cringed a few times. But when it got to that scene and she's like, Bruce, it's me, Barbara. She's like, can we please stop watching this? I really, I don't think. I was like, well, unfortunately, we're like 2.5 hours into it. We're almost done.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I was at a movie theater when it came out. I was in high school, and it was with my girlfriend at the time, my high school girlfriend. And we were watching the movie, and the second, what's his name? George Clooney pulls out that credit card. I looked at her, and I can remember verbatim. I was like, I can't curse. I don't want to curse, but I was like, nope, screw this stuff. We're out of here. And she's like, what? I'm like, get up now. We're leaving. And I just stormed out of the theater. I was so angry at that point. I was in high school. Batman wasn't even a big thing to me at the time. It was still fun. I grew up watching the animated series, but it wasn't like it is now. And still, I was like, nope, we're done. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, that's where the line is. Well, I explained to her, because we did watch the 60s show beforehand, because we were watching Family Guy, and they did like a tribute to Adam West. And I was like, he used to be Batman. And so we watched the movie and then the series, and I told her, like, in this context, if you watch the movie just kind of thinking it's like a weird future for the 60s TV show, it's a little bit more tolerable. So she knew it was stupid, but of all the stupid stuff that happened, that was the thing. She's like, I can't watch this anymore. Yeah, it's ridiculous. And yeah, I didn't think about the fact that it didn't have nipples on it, but going back to the Pattinson suit, definitely hope that there's a big upgrade in store for that, because I think it's got potential, but it looks like something. The critique that everyone says about it is absolutely correct. It looks like something a 25-year-old kid threw together as like a cosplay. That's the point. That's exactly what it is. It's not a cosplay, obviously, but like it is something that a kid put together, with his butler. It's not supposed to be a Wayne Tech thing. I hope. If Lucius Fox put this together, they need to fire Lucius Fox. But yeah, it's a whole.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully, there's a Lucius Fox near the end.
Yeah.
And we'll see a new upgrade.
That would be fantastic. Well, man, trying to see if there's any other questions that are in here. Aaron Brooks said I would love to see him in a Greg Capullo Court of Owls style suit. That would be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing him in a, even though he did put on some decent muscle, I feel like he'd need a muscle suit to still be intimidating. Aaron and I pointed this out last week. Like, guys, I don't care how jacked you are. I'll put it this way. The Rock is wearing a muscle suit in Black Adam. So you have permission to wear a muscle suit.
War One, Ben Affleck, there's fake muscles in that suit. And,
Yeah, I think if you put him in a cool, lean muscle suit with cool textured fabric that makes it hard on us screen printers or guys that are looking into screen printing. Did I just reveal something? No. But, let that slip. But, make it hard on everyone. Like, put him in a cool textured, bat suit. Be cool. I feel like they're going to keep it kind of armored and tactical, which is fine. I get that. But definitely something that, at least is more, has more symmetry than a very pointed, very metallic looking tactical bat suit with no leg armor and a weird leather cowl that doesn't cover his jaw. There's no symmetry with the suit.
Yeah. The cowl is the worst part for me. Like, I could buy the suit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can buy into it, but the cowl is just like, man, come on. You're not even covering half your face. And let's face it, if we're going for a sense of realism, today's computers, the camera at the airport gets you, they're going to put that together. All they need is 50% of your face, these days. So,
yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can,
I wish I could see some of the comments.
Well, Aaron gets mad anytime we talk about the Pattinson suit. Let me see if I can read his comment because it could get flagged. Let me see. Be funny. Okay, I'll omit the last two words of it, but he said now instead of Morgan Freeman playing Lucius Fox, it should be Samuel L. Jackson, and he just pops out from the back. He needs to have the eye patch too. That would be hilarious. But have an eye patch, he's like, "Let's get you a better suit, mother." And then you can imagine the rest of it. It'd be great. So
that would be.
Oh man. So okay, of course now people are getting questions. We are going to start drawing this interview to a close. I was just trying to see if there's anything else. I'm doing a Batman XC suit. Any advice for the undersuit? I'm thinking DOJ. By XC, are you talking about the extreme environment suit from Arkham Origins, like that big clunky one he wore for the Mr. Freeze mission? I mean, you could wear a DOJ, but man, that'd be hot wearing that under that big armor.
Not sure what that is.
The reason, thank you. I was going to bring up this point, this comment here. The reason Snyder tried to cram it all in is because Warner Brothers wanted to catch up with the MCU, but expected him to do it with a 2-hour movie. I get that. Yeah. I'm going to agree with Tony, though. Let's see. Where's Tony? He's right here. I'll point to him there. I'm going to agree with Tony that as much as I do enjoy Zack Snyder's movies, as far as a narrator goes, I think that might be a better way of putting it rather than saying he's not a good movie maker. He's not a good narrator. He tells a good story and it's got a lot of details, and yeah, I get it. Some of the details you really need, like I've tried to figure on like the 4-hour Justice League cut, like what could you cut out? Like I can cut out a few minutes of like weird songs that just have no place in it, like that weird one in the Aquaman scene, but like there's things you can cut out. To me, a good storyteller can get his point across in a timely manner. So he's not running a podcast. But like that's you shouldn't have to rely on a director's cut for your movie to be good. If you're a good movie maker or a good filmmaker or whatever, like if you're a good storyteller, I shouldn't have to wait for the Blu-ray release to get. I get like getting your full vision. I should still get a complete movie in the theater, if that makes sense. Like, if in No Way Home, sorry to spoil No Way Home for everyone, if I watched Spider-Man No Way Home, but didn't get to see Toby and Andrew unless I watched the director's cut, that's stupid. Like, that's just, I know you're trying to drive DVD sales, maybe have some extended scenes, but you shouldn't have to get a director's cut or a 3-hour movie to tell the whole story. You should just be a more efficient storyteller. Especially...
And the thing is, it seems like the studio is like, okay, you have to do this in 2 hours. Why?
Right.
I mean, why not make a 3-hour movie? Or put an intermission in there so people can get up and go to the bathroom. To me, there's nothing wrong with having a longer. It seems to have become the standard of movie time. Okay, I guess I get it, but if it needs to be longer, let it be longer.
Yeah.
There's no rule, there's no law that says, well, a movie has to be this amount of time.
I completely agree. And like Batman versus Superman would have been more successful at the box office if we just got the Ultimate Edition that explained all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Every complaint that I've had about the movie, other than the whole Batman killing thing, with the exception of that, every complaint I've heard about the storytelling is addressed in the Ultimate Edition. Same thing with Justice League. Now, I will say that Zack Snyder's Justice League would not have been as successful as it is now back in 2017. The reason it's so successful is because of the phenomenon behind it, the social media thing behind it. It was a great movie. I'm not saying anything negative about it. I think it would have been as successful, if not maybe a little bit more successful, as the Ultimate Edition BVS would have been, if that makes sense. But the reason we like Zack Snyder's Justice League is because Justice League sucks so hard. That's really... If we didn't have Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League would not have been near as perfect as people like to think it is. And Man of Steel was one of his best movies. I have to agree. I like Man of Steel.
Yeah.
So, man, do you have any closing thoughts before we move to the Cosplayer of the Week? And I will say, before we do, Mark DeSorty hopped into the chat, said, Tony, that's a good man right there. He is an okay guy. I like Tony. Tony and I have had discussions on and then it cut off. I'm assuming you're talking about the Pattinson suit. So, do you have any closing remarks before we move to the Cosplayer of the Week?
No, it's been great. Thanks for having me on your show, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, before we close off, I'm actually going to leave Tony on the screen whenever we talk about the cosplayer of the week, because he actually knows this cosplayer. So without further ado, I want to introduce this week's cosplayer of the week. Mark, you came in at the right time. Just guess what, buddy? It's you. It's actually the whole Bat Fam. So Beware the Bat Fam is this week's cosplayer of the week. There is Mark and his son Mark, not to be confused with Mark. Great guys. I had the privilege of meeting them at MegaCon Orlando a few years ago. Absolutely love those guys. Really great people. If I can get to this screen here so I can scroll through a few pictures. I know, Tony, you can't see them, but you've seen all these. But yeah, Mark is a great guy. This is his excellent like 70s Neil Adams style bat suit that he did. He just logged on. You'll have to catch the replay. Yeah, you definitely catch the replay. You can also listen to it as a podcast. Humble plug. But they did some like recreations of various Legos. Like there's Junior with his excellent Nightwing. Junior is Nightwing. Okay, there's just no denying the kid's basically Dick Grayson. He needs to sue Warner Brothers in DC for copywriting his face. And then this sexy gentleman in the black Superman suit is, it's John Cody Jenkins. And he looks all right. This is from their really good kind of nightmare cosplay. I'm going to move our faces, actually, because we're blocking the shot here. Tony, why are you blocking the shot, dude? Come on.
Didn't mean to. I'm just here.
Just here. All right. Well, it's not letting me move the shot, but that's from their nightmare shoot that they did. Mark, if you're in the chat still, was that from Matt Suri? I'm trying to remember what con that was for, but great cosplayers, and really great people. And so they are this week's cosplayer of the week. Go check them out in the description below, and go back to the interview screen. Tony, my friend, thank you so much for being on here, buddy. I really appreciate it. It was a great conversation. Definitely look forward you guys to listening to the replay. A lot of good cosplay information too. This is a cosplay channel, but we end up not talking about cosplay that much. So and a different angle on it, because you said you've only been to like 2 cons. So when you cosplay pretty much specifically for kids, it's a very different approach. So I really do appreciate your insight there, and your various controversial and wrong opinions, honestly, about No, we tend to align on a lot of things, whether it be social or political or Batmanical terms. We very, very much in line, and so that's the good thing about having a podcast is only have people on that agree with you, and so it's great to have you on here, my friend. And thank you guys for watching. This has been BatChat. You can catch us live every Saturday, 2 p.m. Central Time. If you're not able to catch us live, you can watch the replay here on YouTube. You can also check the link in the description below to listen to it in podcast form. Maybe listen to it while you're working out. If the sound of my voice or Tony's silky smooth baritone voice is something that gets you amped up to hit some PRs, then go get some gains on our behalf, and or listen to it on your commute to work. You can listen to it any way you want. And like I said, be sure to check us out every Saturday, 2 p.m. Central, same bat time, same bat channel. And without further ado, guys, we will see you next week. Have a blessed day.